Sports 60. From the city of big shoulders, the jewel of the Midwest, comes a sports show that's one of a kind. From iconic players to iconic stadiums to iconic teams, this is my kind of town. Chicago! And the Rewind Sports 60 is my kind of show. From Air Jordan to Sweetness to Papa Bear Hallis, this city works hard, but plays even harder. Danny Carlino and Jerry Riles bring you the Rewind Sports 60. Live. The Rewind Sports 60 starts now.
Welcome, everybody, to the Rewind Sports 60 WCPT. We're streaming live from the WCPT studios, 8:20 a.m. in a beautiful Chicago summer day. And I just want to welcome everybody to the fastest hour in sports conversation. Check us out live. We're streaming live on Facebook at the Rewind Sports 60. And this is just another interesting time in sports, so I can't wait to get right back into it, guys. I'm Lauren Cox, your host, and I want to get right to my esteemed panel. First and foremost, he's back in the studio, the marvelous one, Dan Marver. How are you this afternoon, Dan?
I'm great. I'm not driving 80 miles per hour with cars passing me.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
yeah,
so
but listen, 3 weeks. Can you believe it? August 1st, God willing. We're going to have the NHL in Edmonton and Toronto, the NBA in Florida, and baseball in various cities all on the same day. It's going to be like, I'm going to have I'm going to have needles in my veins. It's unbelievable.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, next we have, I don't know if you can top that, but my amazing co-host, the amazing Jerry Riles. How are you doing this evening, Jerry?
What's up, Lauren? How are you? Oh my God.
We're ready for some sports.
Yeah, we certainly ready for some sports. Marvelous, I got to tell you, I actually had needles in my vein. Well, a needle in my vein this past week.
Oh, sorry.
And I wasn't under Lower Wacker Drive and under the viaduct with a needle in my vein.
Oh my God.
No, I wasn't. But I was in Wheeling. I gave blood this week.
Okay.
Yeah. Life Source, thanks to the folks from Life Source. They had a new name now. I don't know what the name is, but thanks to those folks, I was able to give a pint of blood. And so they stuck the needle in my vein, man. So I'm doing my part.
Yes.
As they say. I'm doing my part.
Do our part.
And I hope that everyone's out there doing their part, Lauren and Marvelous One. Yeah. Man, this is the fastest hour in sports conversation. If you guys want to be a part of this great show, Lauren, you're going to give us a breakdown as far as what we're going to do. Our number here is 773-763-9278, 773-763-WCTT. Lauren, what we got on tap for the fastest hour in sports conversation here in Chicago?
Our top 3 hot takes in sports for the week.
What is that?
Just some hot takes. I mean, what everybody was been talking about all week long as it pertains to sports. Just the hot topics, and then we'll go around and see what everybody has to say about those hot topics. And I think the number one hot topic everybody was talking about in sports this week was, of course, your boy. We talked about him last week, Patrick Mahomes. On April 30th, the Chiefs picked up the 5th-year option on Mahomes' contract. But on July 6th, he signed a 10-year contract extension worth $477 million with another $26 million in potential bonuses for a total of $503 million, which extends his contract through 2031. $141 million in guarantees over 12 years, and he was guaranteed a signing bonus of $63 million.
Unbelievable.
So that's the main thing that people were talking about. Also, too, Deshaun Jackson, we all heard and we all know the comments that he made in reference to Adolf Hitler, and he received immediate backlash. He came back and issued an apology. Philadelphia did punish him, which we all know means he got fined, and now he says he's working towards building a better bridge and more understanding and intelligence around these issues. So definitely want to get you guys' take on that. And then the final thing is basically what we all pretty much knew may happen, and we'll see now how many other teams will follow. But the Ivy League announced Wednesday Tuesday. It's suspending its fall sports schedule, including football, due to coronavirus. The first Division I conference team to do that.
And the Big Ten's not having any non-conference games, and the Pac-12 have already announced no non-conference football games.
Yep, and your Ohio State University AD.
The Ohio State University
AD expressed a little concern about his kids playing. So we'll go around, Dan. Let's start with you. What are your takes on those three hot
And the
takes?
Big Ten thing, it's kind of funny because you'll have Nebraska going to Maryland, but you won't have Illinois playing Illinois State. If they're worried about 50 miles, and they're going to be going, so I mean, it almost doesn't make any sense if that's their reason. But in any event, it's a logical thing. They're going to do that in basketball too. I have a feeling they'll start in January with conference games only, because it doesn't look good right now with the way things are going. I mean, certain states are out of control right now. So with the cases, so I believe that there's going to be, and I hope that, like I was saying, the August 1st thing happens. I mean, there's still an element of doubt on whether all that will go through, but I hope so.
No, a lot of us hope so, and I guarantee you that the National Football League, they're hoping to move forward as far as training camp is concerned. Major League Baseball is hoping it moves forward as far as the 60-game shortened season is concerned. And, of course, we already know about what's going on with the National Basketball Association down in Orlando. So everyone is, and the fans themselves, everyone is anticipating and hoping that we can move forward and move past this and get back to some sort of normalcy.
The only place where there'll be fans maybe is at Wrigley Field on the rooftops.
For $1 million.
It may as well be $1 million, but there are going to be fans at Comiskey Park or Guaranteed Rate Field. They're just going to be in cardboard form. You pay $49, but there'll be fans in the stands at Guaranteed Rate Field. Marvelous.
There you go.
Yeah, there's so much that's one reason why we enjoy sports, and we follow sports, we cover sports, we talk about sports, because once you think you've seen it all or heard it all or both, there's something else to tip it over to the next, raise the bar, so to speak. And first of all, I say congratulations to Patrick Mahomes. Congratulations to the young man. They broke the bank. He and his team, they broke the bank. $450 million over 10 years, minus the bonuses and everything else, but $450 million over the next 10 years. Congratulations to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs for locking this kid up. And here's the deal. He is the face of the National Football League now.
Absolutely.
Tom Brady, hey, you had your run. 9 Super Bowls, 6 championships. You had your run. This guy said, hey, there's a new sheriff in town. And here's the scary thing about it. Here's the real scary thing about it. And Bear fans, I know Bear fans are turning over tables, kicking chairs, doing everything because they're pissed.
Don't even bring it up.
But here's the scary thing. We have to bring it up. Are you kidding me? Here's the scary thing about this Patrick Mahomes deal. Remember, he didn't play a full season, Marvelous and Lauren. Why? Because he busted kneecap. And everyone thought that the season was over for this kid. He comes back. After he wins the Super Bowl, brings the Kansas City Chiefs from behind to win this darn thing, gets the MVP honors. About a couple weeks ago, or afterwards, or 30 days afterwards, whatever the case may be, he makes the profound statement and says that I didn't really fully start to understand defenses until halfway through the regular season. He goes, and I'm still learning.
I couldn't believe it.
No one could believe it. This guy is the MVP of the Super Bowl, and he goes, hey, you know what? Halfway through the season, week 8, week 9, I'm still trying to figure out defenses, and I still haven't figured it out yet. That's scary.
But he's scary.
Yeah. That's scary.
Everybody's scary.
Right.
But we got a guy. We could
have had him.
Went in the same draft, moved up to go number 2. And we knew he couldn't figure out the defenses. We knew he didn't understand the defenses, but this is the guy we got. And we passed up the real deal. Yeah. We actually passed up 2 real deals. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes and
Houston. Yeah.
Deshaun Watson. All right? We passed up both those cats for this guy. Mm-hmm. Who's competing for the starting job if we ever get there, Marvelous?
Yeah, well, it's
unbelievable.
What do you do with $500 million after you buy a few homes and invest wisely?
You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. No, congratulations to the young man, and God bless him, and let's hope that he stays healthy. But again, busting up your kneecap and still coming back to lead your team to victory, getting to the Super Bowl, coming from behind and become the MVP of the Super Bowl. That says a lot. And again, Lauren, he still doesn't understand NFL defenses yet. So just imagine when he figures it out.
He makes it look so easy.
Unbelievable.
Like, how is he making this look so easy? And he just got here. It's unbelievable. Just wait until he gets some real experience under his belt.
It's scary.
He literally could be the best.
It's scary.
Ever.
It's scary. It's scary. I was talking to somebody about our quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky. And incidentally, Mitchell Trubisky and some of the Bear players have been working out at Buffalo Grove High School over the past few days, a couple of past weeks or whatever.
Okay.
I haven't had a chance to check them out, but Mitchell Trubisky and some of the guys are in the house. Well, they're in the vicinity, but they've been working out at Buffalo Grove High School. I don't know if it's going to continue, but I was talking with someone, and he said, how many games did Mitchell Trubisky start in college in North Carolina? 13. He goes, how many games did he play in high school? Who knows? I don't know. 30 or something.
Counting?
So maybe he's got 40 games under his belt. 40 games under his belt.
He had a lot of potential.
Yeah. Let me tell you something marvelous. Lauren, I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but at one point in time, I had a lot of potential too. But I didn't get drafted by the Bears, okay? But hey, you know what? It's how the ball bounces, man, and it's yeah. I just marvelous, Lauren. I just hope we can at least get back to some football. I hope that we can at least get to the.
And we want some good football.
Yeah.
I don't just want football. I want good football. Okay.
Yeah, well, I don't know. With social distancing, what are they going to play? Touch football?
Well, that's the other thing. You didn't talk about your top three as far as the hot takes of the week, but. How did the National Football League say, okay, we're going to get back to playing football. We're going to spend 3.5 hours. You guys are going to be banging each other, spitting on each other, sweating on each other,
grabbing on each other,
grabbing on each other, blood slinging all over each other. Oh, but at the end of the game, you can't swap jerseys. You can't do it.
Come on.
You can't change jersey because it increases the risk of getting corona and COVID. Hello.
Like
Wait a minute. We just been playing football for 3.5 hours. We got sweating all over the place, spitting everything, and you tell me I can't exchange a jersey because it might increase the risk of me getting COVID? What kind of sense does that make? What kind of sense does it make?
NFL sense.
Yeah, well.
It's
wrong.
nonsense.
And Richard Sherman, he did say, they got to step up and say stuff. It just can't be Richard Sherman and a few others. Like, everybody needs to come out and say this is ludicrous. Like, I just, you got to use your voice.
It just doesn't make any sense.
You got to use your voice. This is the time.
Well, yeah.
This is the time to use it. Empowerment, guys.
Well, here's the deal. When you talk about making your voice, and we're going to talk some baseball with Scott Merck and MLB.com. Will be joining us shortly to talk some baseball, White Sox baseball. Michael Kopech has opted out of this shortened season due to personal reasons. We'll get a chance to talk to Scott Merkin about that. But when you say use your voice, I got a bone to pick, so to speak. He's not one of my favorite guys when you talk about sports, playing the game. Not one of I love what he's doing off the court. But you talk about using your voice, and this is the time. Help me out, Lauren. Lauren Cox, marvelous. Hey, LeBron James. They were talking about putting names on the back of their jerseys in support of Black Lives Matter. The victims who have succumbed to police violence and have died, and just the statements around,
Good idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea. But your boy, the leader, the face of the National Basketball Association, LeBron James, down in Disney World in Orlando, said, hey, you know what? I'm not doing it. I'm just going to put James in the back of my back. Because people already know what I stand for. What's your position, Lauren?
Now, I can't say nothing bad about LeBron.
Yes,
don't put me in a sticky situation,
I got to
Jerry.
put you in a sticky situation. LeBron James goes, I didn't go with the name on my back of my jersey. It was no disrespect to the list that was handed down to all the players. I commend anyone to decide something on the back of our jersey, just something that didn't seriously resonate with my mission, with my goal. I would have loved to have said so on what would have went on the back of the jersey, but I'm okay with that. I don't need to have something on the back of the jersey for people to understand my mission and what I'm about. Help me out here.
Well,
help me out here. Maybe
I can't say nothing bad about LeBron James.
What does he stand for then? What is he about?
After he had that school for our babies, I can't, gave us the best thing ever, education. I can't.
Let me tell you something.
It's hard for me to say something bad about him, but I will say, just looking at this, I haven't dug deep into this. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. It just seems like to me he's mad because he didn't come up with the idea. That's kind of what. That's kind of the first.
So he's being petty.
That's kind of what
he's being petty in a situation that's serious.
I mean, is he petty? Can he be petty sometimes?
No, this isn't the time. You said now's the time to speak up. And this guy.
Well, no, he's done more. That he's done his fair share in terms of being the voice and all of that. So if it's his business, if he didn't want to do
business.
It, he has his reasons. What they are, I don't know. But
what's bigger than the people who have lost their lives and the movement itself?
You can't correlate those two things.
Come on, man.
He said he didn't I wish he should have did it. I will say that he should have did it. I don't know why he didn't.
He should do it.
It doesn't take away from what he did.
And he still has time to do it. No one's saying it's taken away. But listen, if the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan, come out and say, "Hey, enough is enough," after the George Floyd situation, if he comes out and say, if Michael Jordan, who doesn't say anything about anything, if he come out and say, "Hey, enough is enough," he's like, "Hey, wait a minute." This even ruffled my feathers. This is enough. You mean to tell me the face of the league? Is going to take a back seat and say, "Well, you know what? I'm not going to put my little baby name James on there. I'm just going to put it." But I guarantee if they had a commercial, he's in the commercial. I guarantee if they got a billboard in Los Angeles, he's going to be on the billboard. But of course, I'm not going to support this movement. I'm going to support. People know who I am. They know what I stand for.
We do know what you stand for.
You stand for. Hey, be a man and stand up and step up. Hello.
He has.
No, I don't want
go to Ohio and look at that school.
No, I want to go to Ohio. I want to see when I turn on the NBA, hopefully marvelous if they get a chance to play. I want to see if the Lakers are playing trying to get a championship. I want to see if LeBron James is going to represent the people who this whole thing is about, man. That's what I want to know.
He's always right.
He's a bum. He's always bum. LeBron James is a
I can settle this. LeBron did something nice today. Did you know that?
He's always doing something.
He did?
Yeah, for Adrian Wojnarowski, who was suspended by ESPN, and because he said something negative about the senator from Missouri, the blank U stuff. So he was suspended, and LeBron came out in support of Adrian today. So he did something nice.
Oh, so he wants to report. He wants to support a sports reporter, a sports writer. Yeah. But the people I really need to support, he's like, well, you know what? I'm going to take a backseat on this.
No, he's not.
That's what he just said. Come on, Lauren. He just said it. I'm going to support a sports writer who's going back and forth because he's attacking our league. But this cause over here, no, I'm just going to stick with it because people know who I stand for. They know what I do. Get that. Man, don't start with me. Don't start.
Don't start.
Don't start. The great Michael Jordan said, "Hey, enough is enough." I'm giving $100 million.
LeBron said that time and time again. LeBron is the one who started the activists in terms of the new age basketball guys. Which was the exact opposite of what your boy Michael Jordan did. So come on now.
No, he didn't start. The only thing he started was trying to make as much money, and I commend him. Again, off the court, I love the guy. I love what he's doing, and I wish more professional athletes and more African American athletes would take the baton and do exactly what LeBron is doing.
Exactly. It's extraordinary.
But you just said, hey, now is the time to speak up. Now is not the time to take a backseat.
He's spoken up.
Somebody asked me the question, hey, if LeBron James said he's not going to play until there's equality across the board, how many players in the league would follow him? And he said he believed at least half the players in the league would follow LeBron if he stood up and said, hey, you know what? I'm not doing this.
Well, why? I mean,
he's the leader. He's the face of the league.
He has done a lot. I mean, everybody can't be Martin Luther King. Like, come on.
No one's asking him to be Martin Luther King.
He's done enough. He did the school.
It's never enough. Lauren, help me out here.
He's done more than everybody else is going to do and has done.
How did he get his money?
There have been many NBA players before and after him.
I'm talking about him. How did he get his money?
He's the one who put the school in place for the kids.
How did he get his money? How do you get it?
Playing basketball.
Playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And the NBA and ESPN, they started covering this kid when he was a sophomore in high school, putting his games on national television. Nike, the brand, they built this guy up to what he is today. So as far as the money,
his talent as well. They didn't just build him up. He had something to do with it.
His talent.
Yeah,
he's good.
His
he's
divine
good.
talent. It's above and beyond.
He's good. It's above and beyond.
It's above and beyond.
Yeah, but he's good.
Okay,
he's good.
We know that.
But if the league, if the brand and Nike and the broadcast entity ESPN built this stage and platform for you, and they're going to groom you and make you the face of the franchise, taking the baton from Kobe Bryant, i.e., may he rest in peace. They're going to do everything to protect this guy and make him the mega star that he is today.
Oh.
Hence, and increase his bankroll.
Okay.
When you step out like that, and you are the leader, in my opinion, when you are a leader of that stature, and in this era, there's no time, in my opinion, to take a back seat.
So you think he should have stepped up and said, "I'm not playing"?
I'm not saying that.
Would you have done that? No.
If I was LeBron James,
no,
and I was not upset,
not do that. It's easy for you to sit over here right now and say that about that boy. Come on, stop it. That man has done more than enough. People need to stop judging and worry about what you have done. Have you volunteered? Have you given back? People always want to say what everybody else needs to do. He's done more than enough, starting with the school, which nobody has done and probably ain't gonna do no time soon. And that's not enough for y'all. That's not enough for y'all.
No, it's never enough. It's never enough. Lauren Cox, Jerry Riles, the marvelous one, Dan Marver. We go out to our TR60 hotline. Ladies and gentlemen, you love his work, and hopefully he'll get back to work really, really soon. The teams have reported to their respective facilities. Here in Chicago, it's the Cubs on the north side over at Wrigley, and on the south side, it's the White Sox. I still like to call it Comiskey, but they're a guaranteed rate field. This man is following it and keeping us abreast of everything that's going on in the world of baseball. He's MLB.com reporter for the Chicago White Sox. He is Scott Merkin on our TR60 hotline. Scott, how are you, man?
Good. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're in here fighting because, Lauren Cox loves LeBron James and he can't do anything wrong. And, I'm a big Michael Jordan fan. So, Michael Jordan.
You're a LeBron hater.
If Michael Jordan got the breaks that LeBron James got over his career, come on, man. I mean, he's already the greatest, but who knows where he would be, in this world of sports. But at any rate, man, we want to get into the world of baseball, and we want to pick your brain.
I think we can love all of them, right? And I will say that the school he put together in Akron is pretty darn amazing. That speaks a lot to me. I believe it's in Akron, right, where he's from?
Right.
And that speaks. I mean, I understand you can always want more, but I think sometimes you got to let people do what they feel comfortable doing, and I think there's room to look at a lot of different great people in different professions overall. That's just my 2 cents.
No, your 2 cents, Scott. Your 2 cents are definitely worth it. There's no question about it. I'm just not a big LeBron James fan because I think he got kind of like he took a little bit more easier route and easier path to get to his level.
Scott, your 2 cents are important right now because there's a shortage of coin.
Well, it depends on.
I heard that.
It depends on who you're asking. If you're talking about
one of my friends complaining on social media yesterday that she had no money for laundry because there's no coins. So
yeah,
jeez.
Yeah. Well, some people don't need coins. Some people don't need them. Hey, Scott, what's going on with the Chicago White Sox? What have you found out regarding Michael Kopech? He opted out a couple of days ago as far as playing in the shortened season is concerned. There's really a lot of concern regarding his mental state and his physical state. He's left for personal reasons, and I believe the White Sox came out and said it's not related to the coronavirus or COVID, but they're not at liberty to discuss it, in detail. And Michael Kopech, the star pitcher for the Chicago White Sox, who is expected to to a great return this season, hasn't said anything. Have you learned anything as far as him stepping away this season as far as baseball is concerned?
Here's the thing with Michael Kopech. Michael Kopech is a great kid. I've had nothing but great interviews with him. I was the one who talked to him a few years ago where he spoke about, I guess it would have been the 18 season with Charlotte, where he kind of developed the yips on the mound. And he said that it was, he could know from the first pitch whether he was going to have a tough time on that night or not, and he's been even more open since then about, depression and all that. But I think it's kind of unfair if you want to be worried about him, or not worried, but if you want to be hopeful that everything's all right, that's great. But this is Michael Kopech's decision. Michael Kopech decided he elected not to play. It's not COVID-related. And past that, the reason is up to Michael Kopech. So I think when Michael Kopech wants to talk about why he sat out, it'll be a great, intuitive, thoughtful interview. But until then, it's really not fair to him to guess, because this is his decision. He doesn't feel like talking about it right now. No one in his camp wants to talk about it. He will not play in the 60-game season, and that's where it is right now.
Speaking of the 60-game season, Scott, this is Dan Marver. What do you think about the Sox chances in the 60-game sprint for maybe some playoff action?
Well, it's interesting. No one wanted this to happen. Good Lord. It's just that, the coronavirus is just a horrible thing that's gone through our country, and people have lost their lives and everything else. People have been sick. People are still sick. It's still, spiking in different states. But the time off, if you just separate all that, if you can, I don't know if you can, the time off has probably helped the White Sox because of the fact that guys like Edwin Encarnacion and Gio Gonzalez, who are, veterans they added to help out, they were not completely healthy at the end of spring training and might not have, started the season with the team, or at least not at 100%. You have guys like pitchers like Carlos Rodon, Dane Dunning, and Jimmy Lambert, who are all back from, their recovery process of Tommy John surgery. So their pitching is deeper than they thought it would have been at the start of the season. So, and just on face, they have a really good lineup, 1 through 9. There's no weaknesses in that. There's some young guys, so you got to, take the kind of learning curve that comes with it, but there's no weakness in that lineup. And, the rotation looks pretty solid. There, you want to see again how Lopez bounces back from an off year in 19, how Cease grows from his 15 starts last year, and then who kind of fills out that rotation with, Giolito and Keiko at the top. Mm-hmm. Deep bullpen. So, yeah, they have a good team, but so does Minnesota and so does Cleveland. If the season was 162, I would have put them third behind those two teams, but I also would have said they're a lot closer to the top than they are to the rebuilding teams of Detroit and Kansas City. So, I don't know about playoffs. There's, they haven't expanded them. They haven't changed that format. It's going to be a fight for them. But, yeah, I think they have a definite shot to get in there this year.
You know what? The only thing that's going to stop them, and it's a sprint, as Marvelous said, the only thing that can get in their way or cause an obstacle or hurdle for them is the guy on the bench, Ricky Renneria. But, I'm sure they can get past that. But let me ask you, Scott Merkin on MLB.com, White Sox reporter on our TR60 hotline. The big concern and the big question, Buster Olney with ESPN said he was 5% confident that we will get through this shortened season. Well, 0% that we get through the shortened season, 5% that the season will even start because of the coronavirus and the lack of testing. We've heard the third baseman for the Cubs, and Chris Bryant said, he's not comfortable and satisfied with the inefficient testing going from 7 to 9 days for guys, being tested, where it's supposed to be initially, I believe, daily that these guys come into the ballpark being tested. How confident are you, Scott Merkin, that we'll get the season underway July 23rd, 24th, and that we can get through this 60-game shortened season? Are you confident that we can do that?
Not having a medical degree, it's really hard for me to say anything categorically. It's a day-to-day thing. You see the reports. Everyone sees the reports every day about certain states are worse off than others, and even the ones that are not worse off still have high, totals coming out. So really for me, and I think for baseball overall, for the players, I will say that I think it's gotten better. You've seen much less, not complaints, but concerns over the last 2 or 3 days, I would say. And, everything seems to have gone very smoothly for the White Sox side. They have had 2 guys who tested positive who have, who've chosen not to make their names publicly. So they were asymptomatic, so that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. But I think, anything can change at any time. You could be, I hope it goes through. It would be a great thing for, everyone to have a little diversion and have 60 games and a nice playoffs and have no problems. But, you're already seeing some guys opting out. You've seen some key guys like Aroldis Chapman and Freddie Freeman test positive. So, there's absolute concerns, but I think it's very tough to say, yes, it will, or no, it won't at this point, because you just don't know which direction this coronavirus is going to turn.
Yeah. I'm concerned, too, a little bit about the travel. They're lucky they don't have to go any further west than Kansas City or east of Pittsburgh. So, in that regard, they're lucky, unlike the east and the west, they're going to have to go all over the place. I'm worried about people going into the areas that are exploding with virus.
Yeah, I mean that could become an issue. It could become an issue where, again, I'm not privy to this, but it could become an issue where they have to go to another site for these teams that are playing in the heart of where the results seem to be spiking right now. But they did a good job with the schedule. Like you said, the Sox are facing 40 of the 60 games are against Kansas City, Cleveland, Minnesota, Detroit, and the other 20 are against the NL Central. So they're and that's the same thing for the Eastern teams and the same thing for the Western teams. So it's sad there'll be no Yankees or Red Sox matchups this year unless they somehow meet in the playoffs. But it's good for the health of everyone to keep the travel as minimal as possible.
But they will be going to Iowa. They'll still be going to Iowa, it looks like, against the Cardinals now, right?
Well, that's still on the schedule. That's what we can say about that right now. Is it's still on the schedule. The opponent has changed. It's the White Sox. Cardinals still on the schedule for August.
Hey, as far as fans are concerned, I know that, and I joked about it to start the show off, Scott Merkin, the White Sox, they just put on the campaign earlier this week to say, hey, fans, you send in a picture of you or make a cardboard for $49, you'll be in the stands, man. Are the Sox, I mean, I think it's a great campaign. I think maybe, the Rewind Sports 60 team will, call it in and we'll be in the stands over there. But, is this a good move for the Sox to try to, I don't know, man. I know teams are doing everything they possibly can. Over in Japan, I know that they had the those blow-up dolls or whatever in the stands, and people are like kind of questioning that or whatever. But I mean, as far as, because the fans won't be able to come in there, will they be piping in crowd noise, or they have the stands and the fans at Guaranteed Rate Field? Because unfortunately, they don't have the luxury, so to speak, as the Cubs with all the rooftops, and they're selling them at $350 a pop. How do you look at that? To try to replace the fans as far as the games are concerned here in Chicago?
Well, the fan cutouts or the cardboard cutouts sold out for the first series against Minnesota. They sold everyone they had allotted for, and they made, I think, $55,000 for White Sox charity. So that's a great thing. Mm-hmm. And I think they're exploring a bunch of different avenues to what else they can do. Maybe they'll be, again, just spitfiring. Maybe there'll be some sort of drive-in thing at a lot nearby where they can watch the game on a big screen and, be in their cars and that kind of thing, with, of course, no tailgating or anything. So, yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait. Scott, hang on. Wait a minute. First of all, this is Chicago. It's Chicago. And even the old Mayor Daley say, hey, Chicago is a city that works. I say the city that works against you. But now I think it's going to be working for you. But wait a minute, this is Chicago. You mean to tell me, and it's a great idea, and I tweeted it out this week, because the Dodgers are doing it. They're going to have a drive-in where fans can go up to the ballpark, outside the ballpark, and they can watch the game. The White Sox, they have nothing but real estate as far as the concrete parking lots are over there on the south side. You put up some jumbo screens out there, you have the fans come and pull up, just like the drive-in, and they can watch the games in the parking lot. They tailgate during the regular games. Why wouldn't they be able to tailgate during the drive-in?
Well, because of the coronavirus.
Wait a minute.
You have to have social distancing.
No. Wait a minute. No, Scott, I love you. Hey, hang on here. Brooks Boyer, if you're listening, I love you guys. Listen, my daughters just went out to McKinley yesterday to see a concert. Social distancing. They got the VIP section. The VIP section is you bring your car up. You get out of your car, you have your seat. You're on the driver's side of your vehicle. That's the VIP section. You pay $100 a car, and you spend like 2-3 hours out there jamming. They have the drive-in movies out there in
Soldier Field.
Yeah, Soldier Field. They got the drive-in movies out there. You can have a baseball game out there. What are you talking about social distancing? I mean, you can still do it.
Oh.
Well, I mean, but you have to have social distancing. I mean, this is nothing to really kind of joke about. I mean, I see the goofs who go into stores and won't wear masks and that kind of thing because against their constitutional right. And, people's lives are at stake on this. So I think they'll figure out whatever the best plan is possible. Right now it's the cardboard cutouts. They'll move forward on other stuff. But, I tend to lean towards the experts on this one since I don't really have the training to judge what a pandemic can and can't do,
No, I agree with you. And, we're here. We're telling people we have our mask on right now. This is what we do. We spray everything down. We wipe everything down. We want people to be safe, not sorry, right? Yes. And right. And Scott, it's not a joking matter. And I tell people, hey, listen, I don't want you to do it. I don't condone you to do it. But if you want to go and play in traffic on the Dan Ryan Expressway, on the Kennedy Expressway, on the Edens, if you want to do that, you have the right to do that. I don't want you to do it, and I'm telling you not to do it. But if you want to do it, you can do it. But you don't have a right. You don't have a right to get me sick. You don't have a right to do that. And if we're telling you to protect other people, your fellow man, you should honor that. You should, because you don't want it. I'm telling you, you don't want this thing. But I truly believe with all that real estate that the White Sox have over there, you get a couple of those jumbotrons up there, and you tell people they park, 3 spaces over, and they have to stay around their car, and they pay $50 to come to watch the White Sox on the jumbo screen. I think you can do it. I think you can make it happen, because think about it. With the police being able to set up shop over there in the northern parking lot outside of Comiskey Park or Guarantee Ray Field, they got a lot of guys over there parking their cars, and I don't know if they're practicing social distancing, but it can be done. And I think Sox fans would welcome the opportunity to get a chance to watch their favorite team, support their favorite team on a Jumbotron. And the players would love to hear crowd noise, maybe not inside the ballpark, but outside the ballpark. It'll be something it's America's pastime. Chicago sports fans, Chicago White Sox fans need it. The Cubs are already working on the deal. They got the rooftops, and they're charging $350 a pop. They're giving their fans an opportunity to see their favorite team play. I think the White Sox should seriously consider it. If the Los Angeles Dodgers can do it, the White Sox can do it here in Chicago. It's my opinion.
Well, we'll see what they have in plan. I would also argue against that. You really don't have the right to go play in the Dan Ryan or the Edens, but
yeah, you don't.
That's another topic for another show, probably.
Yeah, you don't. But I'm just saying, you know what? Put a mask on. That's all we're asking you to. Hey, listen, our fearless leader.
Fair enough. And don't play on the Dan Ryan.
Don't do it
with a mask on the Ryan.
Yeah, don't. No, I'm not condoning. Jerry Riles is not telling you to go do it. The only thing I'm saying to you is that have respect for your fellow man, and you don't want this virus,
exactly.
And you don't want to take it. I'm telling you, I had the flu, and Lauren's tired of hearing me say it, but Merkin, I thought I was gonna die, and I just had the flu. So imagine with this thing, you don't want to play around with it, you don't want to joke around with it. Just put on the damn mask. That's all we're asking people to do.
Scott, it's Lauren Cox here. I wanted to get your opinion on umpire Joe West's skepticism about coronavirus. He kind of came out as a coronavirus skeptical conspiracy theorist, and he basically said that he didn't believe in his heart that all these deaths had been attributed to coronavirus. He said, I believe it may have been contributed to some of the deaths, but I'm not going to opt out. I'm not going to work, and I'm going to work until you take me off the field or I get hurt. Whatever, I'm working. What did you think about the interesting umpire's statements?
Well, I mean, yeah, I had a chance to interview him in Hawks last weekend, and he was a very cordial interview at that point. He can think whatever he wants, right? I mean, it's his opinion. It's his. Well, I mean, I'm sure they'll be very careful with him. I'm sure he's going to end up being more careful than what he said in that kind of glib quote. I totally disagree with him, but that's his opinion, so I'm going to leave it with Joe West on that one. And if he, the Sox have a couple coaches who are in their, if not in their 60s or close to the 60s, and everyone is being careful. That's the key thing about this is, I mean, even in the setup of the meeting, we have no access to the players. The players, the coaches, and the front office are tier 1, and we're tier 3, and then there's some media and community relations in tier 2. Tier 1 and tier 2 can intersect, tier 2 and 3 can intersect, but tier 1 and tier 3 will not meet up except via Zoom calls and, and phone calls. So there's been meticulous plans laid out to take care of this. So if that's what Joe believes, good for Joe. I disagree with him totally, but, he has his own life to take care of, and we have ours, so I'm sure they will be very careful with him and everyone else that's being employed for this baseball season.
Hey, Scott, do you get to go to the ballpark then or not when they have the exhibition games next Sunday?
Yeah, we're at the ballpark.
Okay.
I've been at, I think every workup but one so far. I mean, it is at the point this year where you can, basically get the same kind of access where if you're home or at the ballpark, you just miss the kind of live action. But I mean, once the games start and they're all on TV, there isn't a lot different. So, yeah, it's a weird year, but it's been a weird year for everyone and not just, in baseball related, obviously.
Yeah, it is weird, man. And, again, we're all looking forward to the start of the season. Hopefully we'll get to the start of the season. Again, as many players continue to opt out, Aroldis Chapman with the New York Yankees, pretty much the latest player who have decided that, hey, well, he's got it. So it's happening, brother. And we'd love to see the season start. But as important, we'd love to see the conclusion, see a championship played this fall. But realistically, I don't see it happening. I just really don't see that happening. Mm-hmm. I hope it does, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I mean, hope is what we have, so we'll see. So far, so good. Not so good. There's been players who have tested positive, obviously, and Freddie Freeman is one I know who had some, significant symptoms. So you don't want any of that. You don't want anyone to get sick. You don't want anyone to get hurt.
Right.
And that's the other thing is, these guys have been off for 3.5 months, and now they're going to have, basically 3 weeks of spring training and then come back to play. So, everyone's going to be very careful, but like I said, you just got to go day by day and hope it keeps going and hope everything works out smoothly.
You know what? Real quick, before we let you go, and we appreciate your precious time on this Sunday, you talk about there's a lot of stress and anxiety regarding the sport and the game and the COVID. How much, if they can get through the season, how much will that affect the play that we see on the field day in and day out, in your opinion?
It affects in terms of what?
As far as stress and anxiety that these guys are distracted because of the COVID and coronavirus, that because it's all about focus, and they have prior to the pandemic, some guys will fall off or they'll go into a slump because Addison Russell, for example, all the things that were taking place with him off the field, it affected his play on the field. With the thought of coronavirus, COVID, in the back of these players' minds, do you think it's going to have effect on their play on the field because they're stressing or, the anxiety that they're carrying, fearing that they could get this thing?
No, I think they'll be fine. I think they trust the league. I think they trust the process. They're being tested regularly,
Are they?
During the course of a week. Oh, yeah.
No. Chris Bryant said that's not happening with the Cubs.
Well, Chris Bryant said that a week ago, Jerry. I mean, that was a week ago. We're a week into this now. It started a week ago Friday, and we're a week into this. And to be honest with you, I'm not privy to the testing process.
Right.
So, I mean, things were said a while ago, and they improve as they go. I can tell you that one Sox player that we've talked to on the Zoom call has complained at all about this.
Okay.
So, I mean, maybe there was a glitch with the Cubs there, and I understand that, was it just yesterday the Astros or the Royals shut down their practice?
Right.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of glitches. Nothing is going to be smooth in this. Nothing in life is smooth about this. So you're going to have to deal with it and move forward if this is the plan they're following. But the players seem very, focused on baseball with concern on, they're not going out anywhere after the games. They go right back to their home or right back to their hotel. Will be on the road. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to, make it like baseball is bigger than that, but they seem focused on the job they have to do and trust the process to get them through it.
No, I hope that they're right, and I hope they protect these players as best they can and as much as they possibly can. Was it Toronto that said, hey, if they find a player that's out of the hub, so to speak, they're going to fine them $750,000? Did you hear that? Something like that? Some crazy number?
I don't know if the fine was exactly right, but it does sound like one. I do remember hearing something about one of the teams saying if there would be a fine for...
Like a crazy fine, like, wow.
You just got to be smart. You got to be careful, and that's what's been preached right along, and it seems to be followed so far.
Hey, Scott, thank you so very much, man. We appreciate you taking the time out to join us on the Rewind Sports 60 here at WCPT 820 AM. We'll talk to you as we continue to progress, and hopefully we'll get some baseball here on the south side and the north side of Chicago. In the meantime, brother, stay safe and stay well, okay?
Okay, you guys do. Take care.
Thanks, Scott.
He's the best, ladies. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Merkin joining us on the Rewind Sports 60.
Hey everybody, this portion of the Rewind Sports 60 is sponsored by Serenello's Ristorante Italiano in Wheeling. As part of our ongoing effort to slow the community transmission of COVID-19, Serenello's is now open to provide dine-in service, delivery and carry-out options too. Come back to us, or let us come to you. Get your favorite dishes delivered in a flash, curbside delivery, carry-out menus, order delivery. Give Serenello's a call today at 847-777-6878. Serenello's is located at 601 North Milwaukee Avenue in Wheeling. Tell Chef Michael Bonner and his team, the Rewind Sports 60, encourage you to support local by dining in or ordering online. Remember to stay safe and perfect social distancing.
Get on over there to Ciaranello's. Those guys do a fantastic job. Great food, great environment, and we miss being over there. But they definitely want you to come in, dine in, or you can order out. You can sit out there in the patio area. Ciaranello's in Wheeling. They do a fantastic job. We're going commercial free. There's no question about it. If you want to jump in, anything that Scott Merkin offered you guys as far as the White Sox are concerned, as far as baseball is concerned, feel free to give us a call. Our number is 773-763-9278. 773-763 WCPT is Rewind Sports 60.
Yeah, you mentioned something, Jerry. I mean, even the players, I'm wondering, the pitchers usually have a different routine and they have more time with spring training.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering about that. They're going to play these games a little bit differently. They might have the starters go shorter, shorter than they would. There's going to be, it's all different, and there's no DH, and there's going to be a DH for everybody. So it's going to be a whole different situation.
Well, it's going to be a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
He said.
Yeah.
Right now is a distraction. Comments were made, and they were wrong. Allow those who were impacted by it to voice their grievances. But we got to stay focused because Breonna Taylor's killers are still not arrested. We still fighting for justice. We got a lot of work to do, and this ain't it. Stay focused.
That was Malcolm Jenkins, who made a comment or response earlier this week after Deshaun Jackson comments regarding, they were just bad, regarding Adolf Hitler and what he thought about, America. Malcolm Jenkins came back and said, hey, wait a minute. It was bad. It was wrong. It was handled. And we move forward and not lose focus of the big picture. And of course, he was alluding to Black Lives Matter, the movement that is going on. And, it stirred up a lot in the world of sports and just in the world in general, because of everything that has transpired over the past few weeks, starting with, not starting, but really catapulting and going off, regarding the George Floyd murder that took place in Minneapolis. It's really sparked a lot, and it affected a lot of people, and it's marvelous. We have to get your response, your reaction to this, and it is a very touchy, sticky situation.
It is. Obviously, there is racism in the world. And, I can't walk in the shoes of a black man because I'm not, by accident of birth. However, I can walk in the shoes of a Jewish person.
Right. So,
obviously this incident shows that there's all different kinds of racism. And as I alluded to when I was in the car last week, for systemic racism, you can't top Nazi Germany. That was systemic. There were no accidents there. There were no accidental deaths, and I'm not saying there were accidental deaths with the police, but it's I feel strongly that the government, unlike some people, can do something about this, like they did with the Civil Rights Act of '64, which Martin Luther King endorsed totally with non-violent protesting. I'd like to see something like Tim Scott's bill get through Congress. It's unfortunate that it didn't, and I'm surprised that Harris and Booker didn't jump on board and make it bipartisan, but I'd like to see something like that. It really, I know nothing's perfect, but I'd like to see something like that as a bipartisan, unified thing. It's with the government first, and maybe it will trickle down. I'm hoping.
Lauren?
I think his comments were, ridiculous, obviously, hurtful. But I do like what came out of it in terms of, I know he was able to visit with a Holocaust survivor. And also, too, Julian Edelman came out and said that, he wanted to have him visit a Jewish museum, and then he would go and visit the African American History Museum in D.C. and invited Deshaun to just sit down, chop it up, and have an uncomfortable conversation afterwards.
Right.
And so, to me, I was just like, that's very powerful. So, what he said, it was based out of ignorance, obviously.
Right.
But what good can come out of it is something that I'm looking forward to in terms of, just having that dynamic with the white player and the black player, being able to chop it up, have a conversation, having a difficult conversation, and seeing things from each other's point of view, in a different point of view. So something good will come out of it.
I hope something does definitely come out of this. Something good can come out of this. The unfortunate thing about it is the fact that the comment was first of it was false. First,
Right.
it was false. It was hurtful. And I think the problem with the society now is the fact that, and social media has really damaged our level of communication, because we don't really communicate.
Right.
We just put information out there, whether it's true or not, and people react to it. And it's unfortunate because people don't do their homework. They don't do their research. They don't read. They don't study.
Exactly.
They react.
They
When you
watch
have-
Netflix.
Let me, exactly. And they believe what they see and believe that that's reality when it's not. When you have, and it sickens me and it saddens me, but when you have professional athletes, they're millionaires, and you have some entertainers, actors, that believe that the world is still flat.
Yeah.
When you have public figures come out and they say
aren't aware.
they believe that this world is flat.
Okay, we
And then we go, wait a minute. No, it's not flat, man, because you flew from over here to over there, and it's not flat. And then they go, oh, wow, it was taken out of context. No, it wasn't. You said that the world is flat. So when you have people making comments and statements like that,
I don't get it.
it's no surprise that Deshaun Jackson makes a comment and a statement that he said that was inaccurate in the first place, and it was hurtful. You would
think how could you not know to not do that, is what I say. Like, how could you
listen?
How unaware can you be to know that you don't make statements like that? Like, what?
Listen.
Put your feet on the ground and get grounded, because that's just too. Come on.
You're right. And you know what? When you're going to put something out there like that, the great Herm Edwards, he's a coach for Arizona State football team, right? He said he tells his players, hey, listen, I can't control you. I'm telling you not to do it. But social media today, he goes, hey, listen, if you're going to send a text out, if you're going to send a Facebook, if you're going to send a post out, he goes, listen, you got those characters. I don't know if you can still have 140, 500, how many you got, 142, whatever. He goes, listen, if you're going to type it up, you take the time to type it up. He said, do this. Take it, your phone, whatever it is, put it down, and walk away from it. He said, come back in about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then pick it up and look at it. He said, if you still feel comfortable sending it out, he goes, but go ahead, send it out. He said, but if you come back and go, wait a minute, I shouldn't say that. Yeah. Don't do it.
Right.
Don't do it. So Deshaun Jackson, he can go, listen, if he's got a girl, I'm sure he's got a girl. He got some brothers, some fellas that hey man, I'm going to go say this, man. I'm going to go, somebody, if it doesn't make sense, somebody in that group, I'm almost going to say, hey man, you're an idiot. You don't put that out there.
Anybody.
You cannot do that.
Yeah, well.
You can't do it.
I know what you mean. I spent a lot of time reviewing my recent email to you before I sent it.
Marvelous. Hey, like the great late Harry Carey said to Steve Stone in the Cubs broadcast booth, hey, Steve, why don't you say on the air what you said off the air?
I would have. I was in the car last week, so I was hard. Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, man, the Marvelous one is really stepping out today. And ladies and gentlemen, we stepped out today as well. And we want you to definitely check us out if you miss any portion of this great show, the Fastest Hour in Sports Conversation. Make sure we're streaming live, of course, on Facebook Live. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, the RewindSports60.com, of course, on Comcast Access, Channel 17, Channel 19, and Channel 35, Wednesday, 7 p.m. On behalf of Lauren Cox. Lauren, you're the best, girl.
Thank you.
And, of course, the marvelous one, Dan Marver. Hey, we were expected to talk to the Super Bowl MVP.
Oh, Dent.
Yeah, Richard Dent, the Super Bowl 20. not the guy that signed a $450 million contract. Although we're going to try to see if we can get him on the air. But Richard Dent was expected to join us to talk about it. Unfortunately, he's unavailable. We'll get a chance to hopefully talk with him in the next week or so. But until that time, ladies and gentlemen, please stay safe. Wear your mask. Have an enjoyable rest of your Sunday. Enjoy the week. We'll see you on television on Wednesday, 7 p.m., Channel 17, Channel 19, Channel 35 in the northern suburbs. It's been a fun one.
Yes.
It's been a fast one. It's been a blast. Rewind Sports 60. Lock it in. Take care, everybody.
TheRewindSports60.com. 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 Relax, reset, rejuvenate. Go to our link right now to restart your life. TheRewindSports60.com. What are you waiting for? Hope to see you soon. The Rewind Sports 60.
Take me out to the ball game, Hall of Famer Andre Dawson.
All right. Let's hear it from the greatest fans ever. On three. 1, 2, 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back for its root. Root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Hey, let's get some runs. Thank you.